Hello everybody, and thank you so much for watching. Welcome to part 2. In part 1 we made our squares. I made 15 and now I will arrange them right side up to see which way I like them best. And then once I've done that, I turn every square over to the wrong side, so all the squares are wrong side up. So we will start our seam on the right bottom with those two squares and make a vertical seam going from the right to the left, and the same seam above going from the right to the left. So place your first two squares wrong side up, but place the corners together so the right sides face each other inside, and we will start in the two corners. When you look at your corner, we have our two singles that we made together into the same stitch, then over here again the second time and the third time. Count 1, 2, 3 singles, so we go into a second cluster into the first single, but go into the front loop. When you look behind, there's the back loop. Go into the front loop, and then grab the second piece and go into the back loop of the third single. So here are our 1, 2 that we made into the same stitch in the corner, and then again 1, 2 the second time, and over there 1, 2 the third time. Go into the second cluster and grab the first single, 1, 2, 3, but this time the back loop. So here's the front loop, behind it is the back loop. Grab that back loop, and then you can make a slip knot or just pull the yarn through and make a slip stitch. And now you can repeat that for all of the stitches until you get to the next corner. Grab the next stitch on the first piece and go through the front loop. Then grab the second piece and go through the back loop and make a slip stitch. Front loop, back loop, and slip stitch. Front loop, back loop, and slip stitch, and so on. Here's how the wrong side looks, and when you turn it over we get those two pretty lines, and they're because we crochet into the back loop on the back piece or the second piece and the front loop on the first piece. Now you can continue until you get to the next corner. When you get to the corner, you can see here we have the two singles that we crocheted into the same stitch, 1 and 2, and the same thing on the other piece, 1 and 2. Slip stitch the first singles together, and the second ones, and the third single on the first piece, and the third single on the second piece. So that's the second cluster, first single. And now we can grab our next squares and continue. Grab your next two squares, make sure they're in the right order, face them both wrong side up, and then go again into the third stitch. So here are our two singles that we made into the same stitch. Go into the third single, 1, 2, 3. Go into the front loop, then grab your second piece wrong side up, but face the corner so the right side is looking at you. Here are our two singles that we made into the same stitch. Go into the third single, into the back loop, and make the slip stitch. And now you can repeat the seam and the stitches for all the squares that you have left. Front loop, back loop, slip stitch, front loop, back loop, slip stitch, and so on. And remember, we will start and finish the corners with the third single crochet. Let's take a look at the wrong side, and here's the right side. We have those two lines again. When you get to the end, slip stitch the last 3 singles together that you made into the corner. Then you can cut your yarn, make a chain and sew in the loose end. Our first seam is done. Now we can make the second seam exactly the same way. Start above the first seam and then go across and repeat what you did on the first seam. Once you've done all your horizontal seams, we can make the vertical seams. They're pretty much the same way. We will start in the lower right corner and work our way up. And you can fold your squares like this. Just fold them on top of one another, and then you can make the seam comfortably and sit on the edge of a table. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4 seams that I have to make. 1, 2, 3, 4. Our squares are still facing wrong side up, and we start the same way as we did on the other seam on the 1, 2, 3 third single in the first piece and the third single, 1, 2, 3, that we made in the corner on the second piece. And then you can slip stitch the front loop together with the back loop, and I will show you how we cross the seam when we get to it. So when you get to the seam, slip stitch your last 3 singles together. Those should be the single crochet that we made into the corner. 1, 2, and 3. And here's our seam, our horizontal seam. Chain 1, and then just continue on the other side. Skip over the seam, and then slip stitch the front loop together with the back loop. And those should also be continuously the 3 single crochet that we made into the corner, so you can double check yourself if everything matches up nicely. So here we have our wrong side, and this is the right side. We have 4 corners, 1, 2, 3, 4, separate 4 lines. Finish all your vertical seams. This is how the wrong side looks, and this is how the right side looks. And now we can finish and add a border with picots around the blanket. I will start on the side near the corner so I can show you the corner next. Start in any of the third double crochet. See the third double, we made the single into that double, and then above that we made the single into the back loop of that single, and we will start right there into the back loop of the single that belongs into the third double crochet. Now you can either make a slip knot or wrap the yarn around the hook like I do, but you need a loop on the hook. Then go into that single crochet that belongs into that third double crochet. Go into the back loop and make a single crochet. Then single crochet 3 more into the next 3 back loops. So that was our first single, second single into the back loop, third single into the back loop, and the fourth single into the back loop, and we should be above our second double crochet below. Now make 3 chains and a slip stitch picot. 1, 2, 3 chains, then slip stitch into the single crochet below where the 2 pieces of yarn are. They look kind of like an arrow up. Make a slip stitch through all 3 loops and repeat. Make 4 single crochet into the back loops. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We are above our second double crochet below again. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and make the slip stitch picot into the single crochet. Grab those 2 pieces of yarn and make the slip stitch. And I have to repeat that one more time. Make 4 single crochet into the back loops. 1, 2, 3, and 4. We're above that second double crochet again. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, make the slip stitch picot into the single crochet. So on the side of the blanket we single crochet 4 into the back loops and make a 3 chain slip stitch picot above the second double crochet. Single crochet into the next back loop, and that belongs to the third double crochet below. And here's our corner where we have 2 single crochet together in the same stitch. 1, 2. Single crochet into the back loop of the first single and into the second single. And here are our 2 singles that belong into the middle. Single crochet into the back loop of the first single, chain 3, but this time don't make a slip stitch, make a single crochet into those 2 pieces of yarn. Pull through 2 loops and pull through 2 loops again. This way we have a bigger corner. And repeat, go into the back loop of the next single crochet and make a single crochet. And I think I split my yarn here. Let's see. Yep, there it is. Chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and make a single crochet into those pieces of yarn. Pull through the 2 loops, and then pull through 2 loops again. We have a bigger corner. Now single crochet into the next 2 singles that we made into the same stitch, back loop only. 1 and 2. Single crochet into the next back loop that belongs to the first double crochet below, and single crochet into the next back loop that belongs into the second double crochet below, and we make our 3 chain slip stitch picot, 1, 2, 3 chains, and now the slip stitch picot because we're on the side of the blanket again. Continue this pattern until you get to your first seam. Make 4 single crochet into the singles below, back loop only, and then into the 4th single crochet that belongs to the second double below, make the 3 chain slip stitch picot. Here's our seam. I have to make 1 more single crochet, 3 chain slip stitch picot into the single crochet that belongs into the second double crochet. Single crochet, 3 chains, and slip stitch. Single crochet into the back loop of the next single crochet, and here's our corner where we have 2 singles in the same stitch. 1, 2, and here again 1 and 2, and the second single has the stitch of the seam. Single crochet into the back loop 3 times. 1, 2, and 3. Then make a single crochet right where the seam is. Try to grab underneath those 2 pieces of yarn. It can be a little tight, and make a single crochet. And now the 3 chain slip stitch picot into that. 1, 2, 3 chains and a slip stitch. And now we can continue the same pattern on the other side. Skip over the single where we made the seam into, and we have the 3 singles that belong into the corner. 1, 2, 3. So we make 3 singles into those back loops. 1, 2, 3. Then a single crochet into the back loop of the single that belongs to the first double crochet. And then again our single into the back loop of the single that belongs into the second double, and that's where we make our 3 chain slip stitch picot. And then continue that same pattern. Make the 4 singles into the 4 back loops and the 3 chain slip stitch picot. Let's do 1 more seam together. I made the picot over the second double crochet, and then a single crochet into the 3rd double crochet. That leaves 1, 2, 3 singles till we get to the seam. So make your 3 single crochet into the back loop. 1, 2, 3. Then single crochet into the seam. Chain 3. Make the slip stitch picot. And now continue on the other side. 3 singles into the next 3 singles, and those are our corner single crochet. 1, 2, 3. Then a single crochet into the single that belongs to the first double. A single crochet into the single that belongs to the second double, and our 3 chain slip stitch picot. And now you can repeat. Make the 4 single crochet into the next 4 back loops. And the 3 chain slip stitch picot into the 4th single crochet. When you get to the corner, make a single crochet, 3 chain slip stitch picot, next to it the single crochet, and that leaves us the corner with the 1, 2 singles that we crocheted into the same stitch. Make a single into the first one, a single into the second one, and here's our corner with the 2 singles into the same stitch. Make a single crochet, and then chain 3, and this time make a single crochet picot into the first single and into the second single. Go into the second single, make the single crochet, chain 3, and make the single crochet picot. And now we can continue on the other side. 2 single crochet 1, 2, then 2 more, 1 and 2, and the second one is above the second double crochet, then the 3 chain, slip stitch picot. Remember, in the corners we do the single crochet picot, and on the sides we do the slip stitch picot. Then 4 singles, and the 3 chain slip stitch picot goes into the 4th single crochet. At the end of the round we have 4 more stitches left over. 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can just make the same pattern into those. Make the 4 single crochet, and into the 4th one make the 3 chain slip stitch picot, and then you can cut your yarn and pull it out of the loop and thread a needle. Skip the first single crochet and go into the second single crochet from the front to the back through both loops, and then top down where the yarn is coming out of into that loop. And you can turn your work a little bit and also go into that loop beneath it. You see it right there. So we have a strong stitch, and then you can sew in your loose end towards the left. So we have our 3 pieces of yarn. And now our blanket is completed. I hope you like it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye bye.